Hello students, I hope you're doing well. This is Mr. Morris. Um, as I told you the other day, we are going to be working some with AutoDesk Inventor, Fusion 360, and predominantly we're going to be working with Creo. Some of y'all have probably already had Inventor. I'm not sure how many of you have. But if you wouldn't mind sending me an email to let me know whether you have Inventor or not. So for those of you who've had Inventor in the past, this is going to be a good review for you. And if you haven't had Inventor before, then you're going to and probably enjoy this, or at least I do. I enjoy drawing things with CAD. So we're going to start today. Now, I will tell you that I still have the 2021 version of Inventor. I don't have the new version, 2022. But that's okay. Either one will work, or even 2020. I wouldn't do anything older than 2020. But 2021 will work fine. 2022 will work good. So on my desktop here, I'm going to double click on Autodesk Inventor. It's going to take a second or two for it to come up. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new file. So come up here in the top left-hand corner and select New with your left mouse button, and then select New again. When you do this, this panel here is going to come up, and it's asking for what type of template. If you don't see the templates listed, just click on this arrow here, and you'll see English and metric and mold design. I'm going to use English today. And then over here, you will see we have a standard IPT file. Now, what that stands for is Inventor Part File. Now, for some of you, like I said, who've already had Inventor before, this is going to be very easy for you. But you have to understand, some students have never had Inventor in this class. So we're going to click on Standard IPT and then come down to the lower right hand corner and select Create. It's going to take a second while it loads. So just kind of be patient. All right. Now, before you can make a 3D model of anything in Inventor, you have to make a two-dimensional sketch first. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch first. So come up here to the top left-hand corner and select Start 2D Sketch. Start 2D Sketch. And now you will see these axes come up. You'll see the XY plane. If you hover with your mouse, you'll see XY plane here. If you hover with your mouse here, you'll see the YZ plane. And consequently, if you hover here, you'll see the XZ plane. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. All right, now, I always like to work with my XY plane. All right, so now what we have is, if you look down here in the lower left-hand corner, this is the UCS icon. You will see this is the x-axis this way, and this is the y-axis, and you have the z-axis coming towards you, okay? Now, we're going to make something fairly simple today, but before we start to draw anything, I want to show you a few things as far as how to manipulate your screen. With your mouse, if you rotate the scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out. Now you don't need to do this. I'm just going to draw something real quickly to show you. You don't need to draw anything here, okay? But I drew a circle to show you how your scroll wheel works on your mouse. If you rotate the scroll wheel, You can zoom in and out by rotating your scroll wheel. All right. If you hold the scroll wheel down, you can pan your geometry. Okay. So if you rotate the scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out. If you hold the scroll wheel down, you can pan about. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of the circle because that's not what I really wanted to do here today. Now we're just going to make a simple L bracket with rounded edges, or rounded corners rather, and maybe a couple of holes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off, in somewhat order here. We're going to work with the line function today. You can see there's line, there's spline, spline interpolation, equation curve, and bridge curve. We're going to work with this one here today. Okay, so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to drag my cursor, see my mouse, over to the origin. And when I move it to the origin, you'll see a green dot appear. I'm going to left click with my mouse button, and I'm going to drag out. You see I've anchored my line, and as I move my mouse, it's like a rubber band effect. Now I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to go, let's just say, I don't know, 4 inches. And you say, Mr. Morris, I can't see the geometry anymore. Okay, so at this point, just rotate your scroll wheel until you can see your line. See, it says 4 inches right there. I'm going to hold down my scroll wheel and pan. See, I can do all that while I'm in that mode. And then I can rotate my scroll wheel again. So I did all of that while I'm in the line command. I'm going to make a 3-inch line here. And I'm going to come back here. We'll make this 4. And I'm going to close this up. I'm going to come back to the origin, and I'm going to click on the origin. Now, listen carefully. We're going to do a right click with your mouse this time and select OK. Now, I want to make sure when I drew this line earlier, it looked like it did not, it wasn't perfectly horizontal. Let's just go ahead and put a constraint on that. We'll talk more about this later. But if you click on here, this is called horizontal constraint. Click on this, and then click on this line, and it says adding this constraint will over-constrain the sketch. Well, that means it's already perfectly horizontal. So it corrected itself. When I close this up, it is a perfect square here. Or not a perfect square, but a perfect rectangle, excuse me. All right, now, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to finish the sketch. So come up here to finish the sketch. And I'm going to scroll out or zoom out with my scroll wheel, pan, hold down the scroll wheel and move your mouse, and then rotate the scroll wheel again. So now I'm going to give some depth to this rectangle. So go to extrude, and it should automatically pick up your sketch profile, but if it doesn't, just click inside the rectangle. All right, so if it doesn't automatically pick up your rectangle, then just click inside of it. Now, you can go several ways here. You can come, see the arrow, it's extruding the part or the sketch profile in this direction. Notice if I flip the arrow, it goes back the other way. This is the one that I use most often. You can also split the difference, half in one direction and half in the other, or it can be asymmetric. You have to give a certain amount of distance from the plane in this direction, and also a certain amount in the other direction. So this is asymmetric. I use this one, okay? And I'm going to select OK here. Now, up here in the top right-hand corner, this is your, what they call the view cube. And you'll notice if I click on with the left mouse button on this, I can maneuver my view here. So that's the front. If I select this arrow, I'll see the bottom. Keep clicking on these arrows. There's the back. There's the top. There's the front again. Now click on these arrows here. Okay, there's the right side. There's the back of the part. There's the left side. There's the front again. Now if you click on these corners of the view cube, okay, just click on the corners. You'll see the isometric view of the block. Click on the lower corners. This is just a different, still isometric, but a different perspective. Okay. Now, so far so good. We have a block. So congratulations, perhaps you made your first three-dimensional part, but some of y'all have already had this class or CAD 211, so this is not going to be a problem for you. However, I want to caution you that this class is going to use Inventor and Fusion 360 and Creo. Now I want to make an L-shaped here bracket. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start 2D sketch. Click on Start 2D sketch again. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this plane right here. All right, I can't see it, Mr. Morris. Okay, we'll rotate your scroll wheel. Hold the scroll wheel down and move your mouse, and you can center your view. All right. Now, we're going to sketch on that surface. So I'm going to come here to Rectangle. Click on Rectangle with the left mouse. And you have some various options here. I'm going to select Rectangle 2-point. And I want to click on this intersection, and I'm going to come down. Now, notice it's giving me an option to add dimensions here. Okay, so right now I am in the current dimension here on my screen is 0.826. It could be, you may have something else, but I'm going to make that a 1. And then watch this. I'm going to hit my tab button and notice that the dimension, that my dimension here of 2.737 wants me to make a change. It's blue. So I'm going to type in 3 there and then hit the enter button. And then on your mouse, move your mouse off of the geometry, do a right click, and then select OK with your left mouse. So when I say click, that's going to be your left mouse button from now on. And when I say right click, that's going to be obviously your right click button on your mouse. All right, so again, we can go up here to the view cube like we did before, and we can look at this, from different perspectives. And so I want to extrude this rectangle now. Okay, I want to extrude this rectangle. So I'm going to finish the sketch. We have to get out of the sketch mode and get into the solid modeling mode here. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch. And I'm going to go to Extrude. And notice how it automatically highlights my sketch profile. If it doesn't, just remember, move your cursor within the rectangle and click your left mouse button. But hopefully yours is working like mine. Let me know if it's not. Now, I'm going to make this was 4 here earlier. I'm going to make this 3 high. So here's our distance. It's going in the right direction for me. So I'm going to type in 3 here, and I'm going to select OK. All right, so this is my L block. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to round my corners here, and I want to put a hole here and a hole here, and then maybe a fillet here. Okay. So we want to add some rounded corners. Right here is the fillet. Now, if you understand the term fillet, that basically means a rounded internal corner, okay? But for some reason, Inventor calls every rounded corner a fillet. So the correct term for an external rounded corner is called a round, R-O-U-N-D, a round. That is a rounded corner. An internal rounded corner is called a fillet. So we're going to select fillet here, even though this is for both. Now watch very carefully. Because the distance from this point to this point is 3 inches, I want my radius to be 1.5 here. So watch what happens. I'm going to type in 1.5. Now watch. I'm going to select this edge, and this edge, this edge, and this edge, and I'm going to select OK. Congratulations. Now you've got something that looks like this. Now I'm going to put a rounded hole here and a hole here. There's 2 ways to make holes. I'm not going to use this function today. I'm going to show you how to just do a basic extrusion today to create a hole. So go to Start 2D Sketch, click on Start 2D Sketch again, and then click on this surface. All right. Now, I need to have a center point here, which I don't have. Now, one way you can find your center point of your circle, or your arc rather, is go to where it says Project Geometry, and then select Project Geometry again, and then click on this arc, and you see that little point right there, that's the center of the arc. Now, I'm going to go to Circle, select Circle Center Point, move your cursor over to this point. You'll see it turn green. Once you see it turn green, click with your left mouse button and drag out a circle. I think 1.5 looks pretty good, so we're going to make it 1.5 in diameter. Enter. And then I'm going to do a right click, select OK. All right, now you can pan. If you hold your scroll wheel down, you can pan around. We have a circle here, right? So I'm going to go up here to my view cube. This is how Mr. Morris likes to do it, and I'm going to select this corner. All right, so I'm in this perspective. Finish the sketch. Select Extrude. Now, notice how it automatically extrudes in this direction. I don't want that because that's going to add material to my part. I don't want to add material. I want to subtract material. So watch. I'm going to flip the direction right here by selecting this arrow. And it flips the direction, and we're going to select OK. All right, now we're going to repeat that for this surface here. So if you didn't get it this time, we'll get it here, okay? So start 2D sketch, and click on this plane right here. All right, now we have to find our center. So what I would do is go to Project Geometry again, and then click on this edge. Now see the little yellow point there? That's our center. Go to Circle, so click on Circle Center Point, and click on this center here. Should turn green when you're there. Click, drag it out, which means just move your mouse, and type in 1.5, enter. And we're going to do a right click, OK. Now again, I'm going to pan, so hold down your scroll wheel, move your mouse, and I'm going to come up here to my view cube. Okay, so I can see my little bracket here. And I'm going to select Finish the Sketch and Extrude. And again, I don't want to add material this direction. I want to subtract material, so I'm going to go in the other direction. And I'm going to select OK. So we have finished somewhat our 3D model. I do want to add a fillet in here. Okay, I do want to add a fillet. And don't worry, we're going to practice these commands a whole lot of times before, before you become an expert. Okay, so we're going to know quite a bit here soon. But right now we're just doing some simple things, and I would encourage you to go back and watch the videos over and over and over again until you perfect this. And if you have any major concerns, please call me. Also, talk to your classmates. I don't want you to do somebody else's work for them, but it's okay to talk it out. Hey, what's he doing there? Make sure you understand what I'm doing. Sometimes your fellow classmates are good substitute teachers. They really are. Okay? Now, we're going to add a fillet here. And I'm going to add the fillet right here at this corner, but I don't want it to be, excuse me, a 1.5 radius. I want it to be more like maybe a 0.5. And we'll see how big this is. I'm going to click right here on this line. See how it created a curved arc here? Okay, that's an internal rounded corner. This is an internal rounded corner. And sometimes we do this for strength, to increase the strength of the part. See, because you've actually added more material. So we'll say, okay. All right. So this is our part. Now, we need to assign a material to this. Before we assign a material to it, let me show you how to save this. Go to File, Save As, and we're going to call this, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the folder right here. I want to be right here. Sorry, Mr. Morris, have an absent-minded moment for a minute. We're going to call this bracket. Make sure you put it in all capital letters, bracket -1. Okay, bracket -1. And we're going to save this. I want you to notice something. This is called the browser over here. And it lists in order everything that we've done up to this point. Everything we've done, it lists in order. Okay? Now, notice at the very top now, this is our file name. So we actually have a file name for this part. We want to change the material designation for this part, because right now it's the default material. So up here on the browser, do a right-click on this file name. Come down very slowly to where it says iProperties. Click on iProperties with your left mouse button. And I want you to come over here to this tab that says Physical. Click on that tab. And right now, see, the material it says is generic, right? We're going to arrow down there. And you can choose whatever material you want to. But Mr. Morris always likes gold. I think it looks really pretty on the drawing. So I wish I had some gold. I'm going to apply this. And see the sheen here? See how nice that is? All right. So there is my bracket. I want to save it again. File, Save. Now, that's your 3D model. And we have some other things to learn about this model. We'll work with it some more. But right now, I want to show you how to create a drawing of this. But before I show you how to create a drawing, let's say you're doing a PowerPoint presentation and you wanted to include this picture of your model in your PowerPoint. So what you need to do is come up here and click on File and come down here to where it says Export. Okay, Export. And I might actually have you submit this as part of one of your submittals. If you go over to this arrow here, you want to export as an image file. And I don't like bitmaps, but PNGs are pretty nice. Save as a PNG and save. So if you remember where you're saving this geometry to, you can go later to that directory and you'll find a picture that you can import into a Word document, into PowerPoint, and so forth. And we'll talk about that a little more later on. Now, so you've got a picture of your part. So you got a picture of your part now. Now we're going to show you how to make a drawing of this part. So go to File, and New. And last time we chose this one, right, because we were making a part file. But what I want you to do is select this icon right here and select Create. All right, now this looks like a drawing, right? And it is. It's a drawing. It's a border and a title block. For those who are familiar with that terminology, notice we have two tabs down here. If I click on this tab, this is my 3D model. If I click on this tab, this is my drawing. All right, now I do not want to use this particular border because it's a size D. How do you change this? You come up here, you do a right click on drawing, and we're going to go to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go to drawing. Go to sheet and do a right click, and we're going to edit the sheet right here. See, it says it's a size D. We want to down arrow, let's make it a size A, which is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and go to portrait. Most of our drawings will be a portrait, okay? So we'll do some in landscape, but mainly portrait, and select OK. All right, so this is our border, and I'm going to show you how to bring in your part file. Okay, so we're going to go to Base, and when you click on Base, I want you to notice something. I'm zooming in now with the scroll wheel. Here's your view cube that you can maneuver. Okay, your view, and I would like this to be my front view. And that seems like a pretty nice, see the scale here. I can change the scale. It's 1/2 scale, but I like this. So I'm going to select OK. All right, now watch. I'm going to take when I move my mouse near the geometry, look what happens. You see this red line or box appear around your geometry. Hold down your left mouse button and you can move this. Move your mouse and I'm going to put it right there. Alright, so that's our front view. Now I want to make the top view and the right side view and the isometric of this. So you go to Projected. Now watch carefully. I'm going to click here. I'm going to drag here. Click. Come over here. Move over to the right. Do a left click. Come back to the geometry, go up at the 1 o'clock position, click here, do a right click, select Create. It has created your top view, your front view, and your right side view of the bracket. Now, I always like to shade in my isometric. So right here, do a right click, and we're going to edit the view right here, edit the view. And we're going to come over here where it says Style. If you hover over these three icons, it gives you some options. Right here, this one says Shaded. Click on Shaded and select OK. So see, now that's really the general format for all your drawings you're going to do for me in this class. Now we have to add some center marks and some center lines, okay? And so what I encourage you to do is go up here to where it says Annotate, okay? Click on this tab, click on this, and come down here roughly in the middle of your menu, and you'll see a crosshair. This is a center mark. Click here, and then click on this art, and click on this arc here, and notice that it puts the center line for our holes there, okay? Do a right click, okay. Now, we also want to do what they call a bisector center line. We should have a center line for these holes that are shown here. These are the hidden lines which represent the holes. So, click right here. It's called centerline bisector. Click here. Now watch. Click on this line, and look, it puts the center line there. Click on this line, and this line. There's your center line, and consequently, do the remainder of these. Right click, and hit the escape. All right. So now you can zoom in and out with your scroll wheel. And I want to dimension some of these, okay? Some of these views. And you can move them around. You hold down the left mouse button, you can move these around a little bit, shift them around as needed when you work on your geometry. All right, so right here is my dimension tool. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to zoom in on my front view. Now watch carefully. I'm going to click here and here, bring them out, and that's a nice dimension right there. I'm going to bring it down about right there, click with my left mouse button, and just select OK. Now I'm going to do this with, this is a horizontal dimension. I'm going to do a vertical dimension from here to here. And I'm going to play. Now, you don't want your dimension to be way out here. You want it to roughly be about the same distance from your object line. So I'm going to place it about right there. Right click, and then say OK. All right, now I'm going to do that. I'm going to come over here to this view, and I'm going to put a dimension here. Okay, select OK. All right, so we're slowly going up right now. I don't want to put this dimension right here. You say, well, that's probably a good dimension. It is, but I'm not going to place it there. I'll show you where I'm going to place it here shortly. I'm also going to give us the radius of this. So what you have to do is click on dimension, and then come over here and click on this edge, and you can drag out your dimension right there. Click. Select OK. All right. And then you can do a right click OK to get you out of the dimensioning command. So I'm going to come around and place some more dimensions from here to here. Okay. And then from here to here. And again, we're going to do the radius of this. And we're going to do the diameter of this hole. See, that's the diameter symbol here. That's the diameter symbol, and this is the radius for the arc. Okay. We also need a diameter here. And I'm just going around adding dimensions to my various views here. I'm going to go ahead and give an overall dimension here, height dimension, but I'm going to put it on this side. Normally, I would place it in between the views, but because I don't like how long the extension line is, I'm not going to do that for this one. All right, notice how you can move your views around even after you dimension. Your dimensions will go with your views, which is a nice feature. All right, so let's see. We need a dimension here. Now watch this. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to click here. Click here. Now watch. I'm going to come over here and touch off with this dimension. See the little yellow dot as I move it slowly back across? If I click here, say OK, this dimension is lined up with this one. It makes it very nice to keep your dimensions lined up when you can. I'm going to do a right click OK and move this up some. All right, so now we've created our 3D model. We have created what they call the multi-view drawing or orthographic drawing. We show the top, the front, the right side views. We need to add labels to this. We truly do. And by the way, I see one other dimension I left out here. This fillet needs to be, sorry. I'm not too concerned about leaving too many dimensions out right now because we're just learning the process. In this class, it's my hope that you're going to make professional engineering type drawings, okay? And I will show you how to get there. Now I'm going to add text. And this here is going to be top view. Now watch, it's just like working in Word. I typed in top view. I'm going to hold down my left mouse button and highlight that, make it bold, and underline it, and select OK. Do a right click, OK. All right, now hold down your left mouse button and kind of center that a little bit underneath your top view. Your view label should never go above your view. Some people do this. That is not correct. Hold down your, move this back, hold down your left mouse button and drag this back to where it should go. Your view label should always go under your view. Now, Mr. Morris cheats here a little bit. I'm going to do a right click, copy here, and then come down below these views and do a paste. See, paste here, and I'm going to click here, and click here, and I'm going to click right here. And then right click, and you don't see us. We're going to have to use escape, which is fine. You don't see a quit, you just see escape. We have to edit these, so double click on this, and I'm just going to edit the word top to say front. Don't forget to do this. Some students forget to do that. Okay, I'm going to double click on this one, and we're going to make this RS, which stands for the right side view. Select OK, and then we're going to click on this, and this is going to be the ISO view. Select OK. All right, now we got our drawing is done. Congratulations, you got to this point. I'm going to show you how to print all this out in just a second. Now what I want to do is show you how to do the border, the title block. So we need to put some information in here about our drawing, okay? And I'm going to change all this. So what you have to do is come up here and do a right click where it says bracket, your file name. In your browser, do a right click on your file name, go to iProperties. Now, go to summary, and this is where you're going to type in the title. So make sure you type in bracket -1, okay? And the subject is going to be CAD 241, and the author is you, okay? And I'm going to change mine to say Morris. It should be your last name. If we have two people with the same last name in the class, you're going to have to include your first initial. The manager is going to be me, and the company is Thomas Nelson Community College. Okay? Now, below that, whatever you add here is not going to show up in your title block, but you can certainly add some other things, some other helpful notes and comments. Okay? I'm not going to fill these out because they're not going to show up on the title block, but you certainly can add whatever you want to here. Go to Project. Right here where it says Designer, change it to your last name. Now I'm using my last name because I'm the designer of this one. And the engineer, okay, the engineer is going to be you. So put your last name, and then the authority is going to be me. So it should be your last name, Mr. Morris's last name. Okay, go to status, and we're going to check by you. So your last name goes there, and you click on the date. Engineer approve is going to be Mr. Morris. I'm going to I'm going to look over your work and approve it. And before you make it ever in a shop anywhere, I'm going to approve it. So it's your hierarchy here. So it should be your name, check, my name, check, my name, check. Apply, close. Now, you see that our title block is nicely filled out, right? And it's going to be your name, then my name, my name, my name. Thomas Nelson, the bracket 1 is the title. Now, let's do a file, save, so we can save our drawing. So hit save. And notice that once it's saved, you'll see that the name of your file pop up here under drawing number. And you can change that if you want. I'll show you later how you can change that. Do file, save. Now, you have your drawing. I do not want you to submit this to me. I'm going to show you how to print this or plot it. And I'm going to show you how to submit this to me as far as in way of Canvas. So we're not there yet. Right now, I'm just wanting you to watch this video and watch it over and over again. Go to File, and we're going to go to Print, and Print. Now, you have to make sure you select your printer, obviously, but come down here, we're going to do a preview first. I'm just going to leave it checked at Model 101 and do a preview. Now, that looks horrible, okay? Because some of your drawing is not shown and your margins are not correct. When you see that happen, close that and then go to File. I did this on purpose now, Print. We want to do a best fit, okay? And we also want to do a rotate by 90 degrees. The preview you saw before, if your drawing looks like that, the way you can fix it is rotate by 90 degrees and do a best fit, and now do a preview. Look how nicely that looks now. So you have your border here, okay, your title block, everything is nicely laid out on your drawing. Now, I'm going to hit the print button. It's going to send it to my printer. Now, what I want you to do is, I don't want you to submit this drawing to me as, it's called an IDW file. Remember the IPT file that we did first, this is the IPT file here. That stands for Inventor Part File. This is the 3D model. And Inventor IDW is Inventor Drawing File. Please don't submit this one to me on Canvas. What I need you to do is watch very carefully, and I'm going to show you how to save this as a PDF. Go to File, Save As, and you can click down here, and notice you don't have any of those options, right? So Mr. Morris, I don't see how to save it as a PDF. Well, you're going to go to File, Export. Go to File, Export as a PDF. Now that's how you would do it. And now see, it says bracket -1 PDF. Remember what directory you're in and save it. Okay, now I can show you what that looks like. Now you can send this to anybody you want to. They don't have to have a CAD system to open up your drawing. Okay? So there you go. That's how you would create a drawing. This is how I want you to submit it. I would also encourage you to keep some sort of a portfolio of all your work that you're going to be doing in class. I'm going to actually let this be one of our homework assignments. Okay? It's not due right away, so don't panic. I'm going to post this on Canvas, and I'm actually going to post this PDF as well, so you have this as a guideline to go by. But when you turn in your work, it's not going to have my stuff. It's going to have your name here, then my name, my name, my name. Everything else should look very similar. I will know if it's your work or not, okay? So make sure you do this. This is your work. I've thrown a lot at you today. I'm going to let this conclude our lecture for today and for this week. Make sure you download Autodesk Inventor, which is free. Make sure for students, make sure you download Fusion 360, which is free for students. Remember, it's a 1-year subscription. And then also Creo. I think it's 7.0. Mr. Morris does not have Creo downloaded yet on my computer. I will very soon, though. And again, I said earlier, many of y'all have already had Inventor, so that's great. This will be easy for you. But some of you have not had Inventor, and this is good. So it's a good review for those who've had it before. And for those who haven't, watch the video over and over and over and over again if necessary. This will be your first homework assignment right here. Very simple assignment to do. Now, it's easy for me to say that because I've been teaching Inventor longer than many of y'all been alive. But and been using it as a mechanical engineer for many years. Mr. Morris was a mechanical engineer before I ever became a professor, and worked 30-something years as an engineer. All right, so I'm going to stop it here. I will post this video as well as this PDF, and that will be the only posting for this week, with the exception of the preliminary stuff I talked to you about the other night. I hope you have a good week. Remember to download your software packages, and make sure you get your textbook when you can. Okay? If you have any questions or concerns after I post this, please reach out to me, okay? And if you don't have the software right away, don't worry. I have not given you a hard deadline. So don't panic about that. Just watch the video a few times if you don't have the software right now. You'll get the software eventually. And, usually it's about week 2 we really get moving. Week 2 or 3, or the early part of week 3. So I hope you have a blessed day, and let me know if you have any problems. All right. Take care. See you later.